Okay. The worksheet. Where is it? There it is. Okay, here are the answers for last week's worksheet. So if you remember, the first, number one, was to write in the major scale formula. If you remember, it will have been on your resources, the major scale formula. The first note had the X under it because the first note does not count as an interval. Remember, an interval is the distance between from one note to the next note. So the distance from the C to a D is a tone. D to E, tone. E to F, semitone. F to G, tone. G to A, tone. A to B, tone. B to C, semitone. And that gives us the formula TTS, TTTS, or tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, which is the major scale formula. If you start that, if you start on any note and use that formula, you will come out with a major scale. So there we are. I hope some of you might have sort of written brackets underneath, and that's fine as well. I just did it like that because I did it on Sibelius, and I couldn't do brackets on Sibelius. Number two was to just simply write the note names in. This is just to get you sort of thinking, getting used to reading sharps and flats and identifying them, and reading notes on the stave as well. So there we've got D sharp, C sharp, F sharp, D flat, B flat, C sharp, E flat, and A flat. So I hope you got all those right. Now, these were the killer ones. So we've got the task was to write out the major scale of each key or each scale asked for. First one was F major, and I remember me saying that I'm pretty sure I wrote it in the guidance notes as well, that each of these scales will have one accidental. I did actually mention at the end of the last session that F major will have one flat and G major will have one sharp.
Yeah.
So starting from an F, you will have found that the B should be flat by following the major scale formula. And remember me saying also that when you write out a scale, you can only use each note once, each letter name once. So you will have come out with, hopefully, F. A tone up from F is G. A tone up from G is A. And then it would have been a semitone. But because you couldn't do A sharp, because you've already used A, it would have to be B flat. Okay? Then a tone up from B flat will have given you C. A tone up from C will have given you D. A tone from there will have given you E. And a semitone from there will have given you F. So
Yep.
that is what you should have come out with.
Yep.
Did anybody not come out with that?
No.
No one here, in my case.
I got the notes right, but I didn't get the flats and sharps right.
Right. Okay. What did you put for the flats?
I had sharps in F major and flats in G. Sorry, the other way around. Yeah, and flats in G major.
Okay. So what notes did you sharpen in F major?
In F major, I sharpened F and and E.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. Top E.
Okay. So that's something I'll go over that again today. So G major obviously starts on G and ends on G. A tone up from G would be A. A tone up from there would be B. A semitone from there would be C. Tone up from there is D. Tone up from that is E. A whole tone up from that is F sharp. And a semitone up from that is G. Okay. So congratulations if you got that right, but I am going to go over this again to clarify it a little bit more, because these can be quite difficult to grasp, and they take a little bit of a little bit of time to understand. But it's kind of like riding a bike. Once you get it, it's stuck there then, and you won't forget. Okay, so 4A and 4B, it was just to write in the note, if a semitone above or a semitone below. So it was just as simple as writing a sharp next to the note in this case. So C, C sharp, F, F sharp, D, D sharp, G, G sharp. And then this one was flat, so a semitone down. So G, G flat, E, E flat, B, B flat, D, D flat. Okay, so I'll send that sheet out for you as well so you can have a good look over it, as I always do. And so the first thing I'm going to do then, before I cover key signatures, jump into key signatures, I'm just going to go over the major scale formula again and how to, I'll use F and G major again, and how to work it all out. Right, so we'll start with F major, I think. So tell me, can you all see this okay? Is this clear enough for you? Yeah? We'll start with the treble clef. So we're going to build a scale of F major. We'll use semi-breves to do it. Okay, so the scale of F major begins on F and ends on the F above. So we start, obviously, with an F. Now, the major scale formula tells us to go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So the first thing we need to do is find our note there, okay, F, and then we need to go up a tone from that. So, what's a tone up from F? Anyone?
G.
G, there. Okay, so our next note's going to be G. So that will be tone. That's one tone there. So we've done that one, we've gone up a tone to G. What's the next note going to be? Because we need to go up a tone, and we go tone, tone. So what would the next note be? Say that again, Angie?
A. A.
A, that's right. Yeah, good. That would be our next note. So there it is, A. Okay, so we've got, hey, love computer software, so good. Okay, F, G, A. So we used F as our first note, tone up from there, G, tone, that comes to A. Now, the next one is a semitone, isn't it? Now remember, a semitone is half a step, so it's exactly one step up on the keyboard. So, if we need to go up a semitone, we obviously need to go to this note here. And that note can be two notes, can't it? It can be A sharp or it can be B flat. Yeah? So we can't have it, can't put it as A sharp because we've already used A in the scale. But we haven't used B. Yeah? So we'll have to, if we flatten B, that will allow us to go up a semitone then. So we can go there. So the next note in the sequence would be B flat. So we've got there. Okay, so we're on B flat. The next one we've gone tone, tone, semitone. Okay, so the next one's going to be tone. So let's up a tone from B flat. So where's that going to land us?
C.
Yes, it's going to land us on C. That's it. There. Because a tone is two semitones put together. So a semitone up from there would be B, and a semitone up from there again would be C, equaling a whole tone. So the next note in the sequence is going to be C. There. So we've gone tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. So C to
D.
D. That's it. D. Yeah. That's it. And then so tone, 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 semitone, tone, 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 which would land us on E. That's it. Yeah. E. And then finally semitone, which would land us on
F sharp.
F.
F.
Yeah.
F.
F.
Because yeah, we've got E,
Oh yeah.
and a semitone up from E lands us on F because there's no black note between E and F to separate them. So between E and F is classed as a semitone. So we would finish on F. So that gives us our F major scale. And if we play it, it sounds like this. that's a sound we're all familiar with. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And that is our major scale. So let's do another one. Let's go and do G. Now you'll notice the difference now. We're going to start on G here. There it is. So anyone want to volunteer for the next note?
A.
A. Indeed, A. Because a tone up from G is A. And we need another tone, don't we? Sorry, we get a bit of feedback there from someone.
B will be B.
Yeah, B. That's it. B. Good. Get some quite loud feedback from someone.
It's Mrs. Crisp.
Okay, so we've got G. Tone up from there. A. Tone up from there. B. So that's tone, tone. Then a semitone. So where's that going to land us?
C.
C, yeah, because between B and C is a semitone. There's no black notes to separate them. So that's going to land us on C. Okay, so there's our first semitone. What's the next one going to be?
D.
D, because that's a tone up from C, right?
Yeah.
Then where are we going to land?
E.
E, yeah, so we're going to go up there to E. We're on E now. What's happening there? Okay, now we need another tone. So another tone up from E. Where's that one? F sharp, yeah. Now, the reason it's F sharp and not G flat is because you can't, when you build a scale, you tend not to skip notes either. So you use the notes in succession. For example, C, D, E, F, G, or A, B, C, D, E, F, G in that order. You don't sort of go A B, C, E, G, like you don't skip notes. So we need F sharp. And then to finish,
G.
And there's our major scale. There's our G major scale. There you go, it's do, re, mi. And I'll play the F major one again for you. So you can hear how it sounds the same because the intervals are the same in each instance. The same sound occurs. Okay. So I hope that's cleared things up for some of you. Now, has anyone got any questions about that before I move on? No. Okay. So sorry. No. Okay. So key signatures. Right. What is a key signature? A key signature is something that is usually put at the beginning of a piece of music to tell you what key the piece of music is in. If I am playing a piece of music in the key of C, then that means that piece of music is going to mainly use notes from the scale of C major. So it will mainly use notes from that scale. So that we would say that piece is in the key of C. Because it sounds, when you finish on C, it sounds like you're home. Yeah? So if I go like all those notes from the scale of C major, C sounds like the home note. So it would be said to be in the key of C major. Now if I play a piece in the key of G, then I'm going to be using notes mainly from the G major scale, which includes an F sharp in it, right? So if I play a melody in G, something like sounds finished, it has an F sharp in it. That would be said to be in the key of G major. Now, the reason for a key signature is to tell us what notes are sharp or flat in the piece of music that we're playing or singing without having to write the sharps and flats in on the piece of music, if that makes sense. It's much easier for me to show you. So if I'll add in a time signature first of all. So if I just add in a common time signature, a key signature will usually look like, we'll go with G major, like this. So at the beginning of your pieces of music that you sing or play, you will have seen something like that at the beginning. Or you might have seen flats, or you might have seen more than one sharp, or two sharps, three sharps, lots and lots. It's up to, well, 7 actually, rarely, but you know, it can be up to 7 sharps and flats at the beginning. Now this sharp here, you can see, is on the F line. Yeah. Can you see how it's sort of sitting on the F line there?
Yeah.
It's got the F line going through the middle of it, okay? In the same way that a note would sit on the F line, the sharp can sit on the F line as well. Now, what scale do we know that uses an F sharp?
G.
G. So that would mean that this piece is in the key of G. On the bass clef, that's the F line. So you have your sharp there.
Yeah.
You need a sharp on both, not just the one. So if you were to look at this, it wouldn't mean that this piece has 2 sharps in it. It means it has 1 sharp in it, and it is F, because that's the F line on the bass clef, and that's the F line on the treble clef. Okay, now C major doesn't have any sharps or flats in it, does it? It's all the white notes. So if a piece is in the key of C major, there won't be a key signature, because none of the notes need to be sharpened or flattened. In the case of F major, does anyone know what the key signature of F major would be?
B flat.
Yeah, that's it.
B flat.
That's the one. There it is. So that would be the key signature of F major. B flat there, and a B flat there. What it also means, it's quite useful, because if I write some notes in here, okay, so I'll write, I don't know, F, A, C, F, and then D, C, B, A. Now, to look at that music, you would see that B there, and you would think, oh, it's a B, okay, so there. But it's not a B. It's not a B. It's a B flat.
B flat.
It's a B flat, yes, because it's in the key signature.
Yeah.
It tells us all Bs are flat, and that ties in with the fact that we know that the scale of F major has 1 flat in it, which is a B flat. Okay, so that means all our Bs are going to be flat, unless I do that.
Right.
So
Natural.
now it's been
Naturalised
changed.
it. Yeah.
It's been naturalized. So if you see that, that's going to be that's going to be a B natural, because it's been specified there with that natural sign. That when you write a natural in, it doesn't affect the key signature. The key signature will always remain as it is. If I then see another B in the next bar like that, now you can see that Sibelius has actually automatically put a courtesy accidental there, or a courtesy flat, to tell me that this is supposed to be flat. Remember, the bar line cancels out all previous alterations to notes. So when you get back to this bar, it automatically goes back to a B flat. And the same for the other one as well with G major. So if it's an F sharp, you can naturalize that F sharp, you know, etc. And it's the same rule. Now, it's important to learn your key signatures and learn to recognize your key signatures, because it's very useful, especially when if you're blowing a pitch, or if you are teaching yourself a piece of music, a song or something like that, and you want to play the notes out on a keyboard, then you will need to know that this note is a flat. Otherwise, you're going to end up singing the wrong notes or learning the wrong notes, which you don't want to do. So those are the keys signatures of those 3 keys. So there we go. There is the key signature of F, which would be a B flat. And then the key signature of G major is an F sharp. And the key signature of C is nothing. There's no key signature. Also, if you are the person that blows the pitch on the pitch pipe, it's very, very useful to know what the key signature is, because then you just say, oh, it's G, so I'll just blow a G at the beginning. You wouldn't have to be told or anything like that. Now then, does anyone have any questions before I move on to the next thing?
Yeah, I think I misunderstood the courtesy flat on that second B. I'm not quite sure why you have it, because if the signature is B flat, it's sorry, if the B is made flat and therefore it's an F. Why would you have that? Why would you have that courtesy flat on the?
So there is a reason for that, and that's a good question. So the reason for the courtesy flat is that if you are a orchestral musician or a singer who is sight singing a piece of music, or not sight singing, but you know you're playing from the music, like a violinist would, or a woodwind player would, or a brass player would in an orchestra or any other musical ensemble, you would. Let me just naturalize this again. This is something approximate to what I just did. Now then, if you're reading at speed, there's a chance that if you see B natural and you play B natural, there's a chance that you might accidentally play B flat in the next bar, because you're reading at speed and you're using a lot of brain power to do that. So the reason it's called a courtesy accidental is simply there to remind you that the B has gone back to a flat. So it just takes away. It's one less thing to think about, you know. That's basically it. Everything that you see on a piece of music or in written music, like I've said before, is the result of about 450 years of evolution, and it's everything that you see on the page is there specifically to make it as easy as possible for you to interpret the music. Because remember, music doesn't stop on the page. You know, music is a feeling. It's a thing that humans do. It's an emoting. It's something we emote. The sheet music is simply just a medium between the music and or a composer's idea and the interpreter. That's all it is. So all these things are there to make things easier. That's all it is.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Danny, you said in terms of the key signature that most of the notes would be played from within that scale. What can you say more about that? Is it just a stylistic thing, and somebody would just choose to do something? I mean, are there limits? Is what I'm saying. If you're picking other notes to play at the same time, if you're in a certain key signature. Not sure I'm asking that question very well, actually. But
yeah, no, it's a good question. Yeah, so it's quite a broad question, actually. But it's a good question. So if I am in the key, like say for instance here, we're in the key of F major. And if I'm a performer and I see that key signature, I will just know that I am this piece that I'm playing is in the key of F major, and it will probably start on F. And it will probably end on F as well. Now, everything that happens in between the start of the piece and the end of the piece is something else. Now, when you're playing a piece in the key of F major, you are going. What that means is that this piece of music is going to mainly use notes from the scale of F major. These ones. So probably mostly those notes. Now, notes can change throughout a piece of music. It doesn't mean that it will only use those notes. If a piece of music only used the notes of the scale that was written in the key signature, then it would sound pretty one-dimensional,
right. Yeah,
and it would get quite boring quite quickly. I mean, it'd be quite satisfying for about 32 bars or something like that, and then you just get bored. So music needs to move and change key to change the color of the music. What was it? The color of the music, or the shape of the music, or to introduce new ideas and things like that. So it wouldn't just use those notes. It would, that things would change. But basically, what the key signature means is that it's just telling you that this piece is using the scale notes of F major as a framework.
Backbone.
Yeah, yeah, as like a base sort of framework to go off. It's kind of like, what's a good analogy? It would be like having the same. If you imagine a children's book and the stories are very similar, so you've got like 5 children's books and the stories are all very, very similar, but they have different coloured covers with different pictures on, that would be like the different keys. So they all sound similar and they all kind of sound the same, but they have different colours and different sort of, they bring out different emotions and things like that. And you can weave in between. It gets very, very, very complex.
And you could then, when you're playing something in a certain key, then theoretically and in practice, you could put notes from any notes in it, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
But it still stays in that key because you're mainly using the notes in that scale.
In that scale, yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
So you can put anything in. I mean, just remember that music theory is descriptive. So it's not prescriptive. It will basically, what happens is people make music and then the theorists go, what can we call that? Or what is that? How can we explain that? And then they might say, so people come up with ways to explain things and put it down on paper so they can recreate that thing when they want to. And that's what music theory is. It's sort of like any other theory, really, but it kind of works the other way around. So the music gets created first, then the theory is created after it, not the theory first and then the music.
Thank you.
Yeah. So music is music is free. You can do anything you want with music, but music theory just helps to sort of guide us and keep us on the straight and narrow, if you like. But I mean, there are no rules, really. There are no rules. So theoretically, you could use any notes in the key of F major, but you would have to sort of be able to explain it. Say I use this because of this reason, and this is how it fits with this, and everything like that. So yeah, okay, right. I'm going to go on to B flat and D major now. Okay. The major scale, those major scales and their key signatures. Now, how many notes are on the piano? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? So from there, we just repeat the pattern again. So there are 12 notes on the piano. Now we can start on any of those keys and build a major scale. So that means there are 12 major keys. And if you add in the minor keys as well, because every major key has what we call a relative minor key, so it's like its reflection. There's 12 of those. So in total, there are, at base level, there's 24 keys. Now, the ones I'm going to show you now, the next 2 scales, are just another 2 of those major scales. These 2 scales both use 2 flats or 2 sharps. Now we're going to build both of those scales now, and you'll be able to see how they work. The first one we're going to be doing is D major. Okay, so let's go with that. I'm going to try and get rid of that key signature. Can I do that? No. Let's put it back to C. Right then. So D major. Here we go. Using the major scale formula, we're going to start on D. I'm going to build a D major scale. So, hands up then, what is the next note in the scale going to be? We're here. This is where we start. Well, we're actually here.
D.
So D is the first note, yeah? So we've got that note now already. E.
E.
E, okay. E is the next note. That's not an E, that is an E.
F sharp.
Did someone say
F sharp.
F sharp?
F sharp,
F
yes,
sharp
it's
is the
a-
next one. Now remember, again, we get D, E, tone, and then, so it's tone, tone, isn't it? So it's tone, tone, so it's F sharp, not F, and not G flat either, because then we'd be skipping from E to G, wouldn't we? But we don't want to skip notes, we just want to go by step. So E, F sharp, then a semitone.
G.
G, indeed. G, indeed. I haven't sharpened that F. I see. Silly mistake there. Okay. G. Now, a tone up from G, so we're here. What's the next one going to be?
A.
A.
A. Very good, very good. And so we need a tone up from A now.
B.
B.
B, yes. And then we need a tone up from that.
C sharp.
C sharp. Excellent. C sharp, yeah. There it is. And then obviously to finish, we always go a semitone at the end, don't we?
D. D.
There we are. It's 7 o'clock. Okay, so there's our D major scale. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. There it is. Key of D major. Sometimes you sing in the key of D major. Easy, isn't it?
Sounds a bit cuckoo to me.
Easy when you know how. The next one we're going to do is the key of B flat major. Now this one is a little bit different because it starts on a flat note. The scale starts on a flat note. Now remember, you can start the scale on any of these notes. So we start on the note B flat. I'm going to start here in the middle of the treble.
B flat.
So what is the next note going to be from there?
C.
C.
C. The C is a tone up from B flat. Let's work that in. There we are. What's the next one going to be?
D.
Say again?
D.
D.
Yes, D. D. Yeah, brilliant. What's the next one going to be?
E flat.
E flat.
Nice. Brilliant. Now you think along the right lines now. E flat. Why is it E flat and not D sharp?
You've used D already.
We used D already. We can't use D again. So we have to go to E flat. Now where would we go from there?
Tone.
F.
Semi.
Yes, F. And from there?
G.
G, which is a tone up from that. And then from there?
A.
A. And from there?
B flat.
B flat.
E flat. Good. There it is. There is our B flat major scale. Okay. Now, what you might have noticed already, that you might be looking at this and thinking, hang on, there's 3 flats there, not 2. But, well, one of them's a B flat and the other one's a B flat.
B flat as well.
So it only counts for 1. So we've got B flat. The key signature of B flat major is B flat and E flat. So, and that's it. It's
Two
just 2 flats.
flats.
It sounds like this. Yeah. What about the key signatures of these keys, though? So we've done D major, which contained 2 sharps, and B flat major, which contained 2 flats. The key signatures, well, the key signature for D major looks like this. Where is it? There.
So that's for the C.
You see that?
Yeah.
What do you notice there?
One's on a line and one's on a space.
One's on a space, yeah, and one's on a line.
Yeah. Look at the order. So you've got F sharp and then C sharp below it.
Sharp.
Now remember, F sharp came first, didn't it? Because F sharp occurred in G major before. as 1.
Which
And
one
then
was?
when 2 sharps show up, F major comes first. So C sharp is added in later. Same here as well. Same goes for B flat major key signature, which is there.
B comes first then.
B flat comes first
Mm.
And then
because
E
F major
flat.
is 1.
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
B flat and E flat. Now notice how they are also opposite ways. So the top one to bottom, F sharp on the top, C sharp on the bottom, E flat on the bottom, E flat on the top. That's what they look like. Now I want you to have a look at this. These are all the key signatures.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
there's lots of them. There's lots of them.
A major, major,
So those are all the key signatures.
major.
Now, if you probably
Bloody
know already that key signatures either use all sharps or all flats.
Mm.
They don't use a mixture of the two. Never. You'll also notice that you've got major, 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 and underneath you've got minor, 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 minor. This is so C major or A minor. Okay, this is because each key signature, or each key rather, has its own relative minor key. We haven't got to that yet, so I'm not going to go into that at the moment because we're focusing on majors. So just ignore those for now. But we'll be coming back to this. C major, nothing.
Mm.
G major, F sharp.
E majors.
D major, 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp.
F.
Yeah? F major, B flat. B flat major. Yeah. B flat and E flat. What else do you notice about this? The pattern.
They're building on them each time.
It adds 1 on each time. F sharp, F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. That's really hard to say. Good warm up. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. And it just goes on like that. There's a really good mnemonic for remembering this, which I'll tell you in another session. The same goes to the flats. So B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and so on as you go through the keys. Now these are dictated by the major scale formula, because when you use the major scale formula, depending on which note you start on, these notes will occur naturally. It just so happens that they're all. I mean, to me, I've been studying music for nearly 16 years now, and it still amazes me how this happens, how it occurs. These patterns, they just kind of seem to naturally form. Yeah, so there we go. That's key signatures. Now I've got another little ditty for you here as well to look at. You can see there we've got the key of C. It's just telling you no sharps, no flats, and then we've got the key of F major or D minor, which is later on, with 1 flat. Key of G major or E minor, which is 1 sharp. Okay, so I'll send this out to you as well. You'll be able to have a good look at that. Yeah, okay. I hope that is clear for everyone. Please say now if you have any additional questions that you want me to answer before I go through this week's worksheet. Anybody?
Would the minor scale be tone, 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 semitone, tone, tone, semitone?
Tone, tone, tone.
Semitone,
Tone,
tone,
tone.
tone, semitone.
No, not quite. It's not quite, but it's so the minor scale is a little bit different. There are 3 different types of minor scale, of which we use 1 mainly. So depending on which minor scale you're using, that pattern will change. But there is 1 main pattern that we use for minor scales, and that's for the natural minor scale, which would be tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. But we'll get to that. When are we doing minor scales? I think we're doing week 7. We're doing minor scales, so we'll look at those. But for now, best to just focus on the major scale. Okay, I'm going to go through the worksheet if I can find it. Where is it? Didn't get it out. Hang on. Let's have a look. Right, here we are. Okay, now which one's the answers? I don't want the answers. Is it that one? I can't see. Yeah, that. Right, here is your worksheet. It's pretty straightforward. It's working off exactly what we've been doing. So the first thing you need to do is, I've given you an example there, okay? So the key signature of the example that I've given is B flat. What you need to do is write in the key signature, yeah, of the key, and then put the first note of that scale in, what that scale would be. So for instance here, F major, you would write the key signature of F major, and then you just write an F in. There, or at the top, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. For C major, it will be blank because C major doesn't have a key signature, and you would write a C in there. For G major, you know, etc. Then what you need to do is you need to write out these scales. Now the scale of B flat major. First note's been given for you, which is a B flat, and the key signature is also present. So what that means is that you don't have to put the flats in. You don't have to put the flats in. You simply have to write the scale out, because the key signature will automatically flatten those notes. And the same goes for D major. You can see the key signature of D major is there, starting note is there. Then, for the third one, what I want you to do is write out the scale again, so B flat major and D major, but don't use a key signature. So I want you to write out the scale and flatten or sharpen the appropriate notes in that scale. That'll be a nice little brain workout for you. Anyone got any questions about that? Okay, good. Good. Right then. So I'll stop there.